Test, 1, 2, 3. Test, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Y'all ready? Good. All right, I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order. As always, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt the agenda. Anything that we need to add to the agenda this afternoon?
Mr. Chairman, on your agenda at the bottom, it does have closed session, but specifically, we request to add the sections that you'll cover today, which is A1, and I believe it's A7 and A8. A1 is personnel, A7 and A8 is legal consultation.
All right.
And also, Mr. Chairman, if we could, I'd like to add a discussion. Revelations Vineyard is applying for a grant, and they're asking that we consider writing a letter of support. So I'd like to have some discussion around that. So I'd like to add that to the agenda.
You want to add that somewhere in between 6 and 7? Or do you want to do it after the public comments? I understand we've got a...
Hey, if Francoise, if she can come on, she's in Belgium, so she's 6 hours ahead of us.
Are we tracking her to come on?
Yeah, well, Bruce, is she on there? She is?
All right. Let's try, since she's in Belgium, we got time change. What about if we do that right before we do constitutional officers?
Okay,
And we'll do this letter of support. Anybody have any problem with that?
That's right.
I'm also probably going to play kind of an audible on number 6 when we go through constitutional officers and county departments and all. Anybody else have anything?
Yes, sir.
What would y'all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As always, public comment. Public comment. Let's go right to Francois.
Can you hear us, Francois? That was too close. She's muted at the moment.
It's a long way to Belgium. Maybe it takes a second.
That's up there past Fredericksburg, isn't it?
It's similar, yes.
Hey, Bruce, is there a chat room option on that too? Maybe drop in the chat that we are in public comment and the chair is called on her. Francois, can you hear us?
Still muted.
All right.
Francois, if you can hear us, please check on your end to see if you are muted. The chairman has called on you. We would like to talk about Revelation's letter of support.
Anybody else have any public comment?
While we
You're
wait.
not giving me the option to unmute either.
All right. If she slides on, I think we can probably, yes?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome,
Yes.
Francois.
Hi.
Tell us about this letter of support.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
See if you can turn her volume up on the computer.
How about now?
Now I can hear people.
Excellent. All right, tell us about the letter of support you've requested, Francois, please.
Yes, so I am applying for a USDA grant that is actually administered by VDAX here in Virginia. It's an equipment only grant. So it's for $100,000. There's no match from anybody, not the county, not me, not anything, not anybody. The grant would be doing some custom crush, so allowing small producers to have wine made in our new facility, and also making non-alcoholic juice from the leftover grapes that are basically lost at the end of the season. I don't know if you're aware, but last year there were, I quote from the 2023 Commercial Grape Report, there were 409 tons of grapes that were left hanging on the vines at the end of harvest because there were no buyers. And so I'm hoping that we can at least use part of that, not the whole of 400 tons, but a few tons to make non-alcoholic juice. Do you need more?
Does anybody have any questions? Carter, you want to chime in on this?
Let's see. Well, a lot of those grapes, Francois, you were saying were really unsuitable for wine, so this would be an opportunity to turn the grapes into something other than wine, which would.
No, they were suitable for wine. There was just no contract on them, no bias.
Right.
Because people have been left with a pretty big inventory. Traffic to tasting room is way down over the last 2 years. So people are not selling as much wine, and therefore they don't want to make as much wine, and therefore they don't want to buy grapes as much tonnage grapes as.
So the idea is to make that excess into a value-added product.
Exactly.
There you
Right.
go.
And Francois,
For a different market.
Yes, ma'am.
right. And you said Early Mountain was doing some of this, but they're no longer doing it?
Yeah, so there is no custom crush facility that I know of in our region. Early Mountain used to do it, but they don't anymore. Our personal experience is that we went to 4 crush facilities since 2014 when we first had wine made, because we got pushed from one place to another, because each winery was processing more grapes to make their own wine, and so they were pushing us out. And in fact, last year was really difficult to find a place at the last minute. And then, the reason, this is finding a reasonably priced and high-quality crush facility is not easy. And so this is why we decided to build our own winery, so that we can process the grapes on site. Even when we were doing this until last year, we had to drive the grades an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's really not optimal.
All right, so,
It's dangerous.
all right, so we have a request to endorse and have Cardi write a letter of support. Yeah, threw you under the bus.
Right.
To write a letter of support. Does everybody have any issue with this? Y'all have questions about this? Yep, please.
Francois, I have a question related to this. What is the marketing channel for the non-alcoholic output from this facility? I'm just curious.
Well, we already make a juice, left jus, which is slightly different. And we market from our own, we sell it from our own facility. I've just been to the food expo in Richmond 2 weeks ago, and there was great interest in it. So my idea is that we can export outside Virginia. And we can even export outside the country because there's not a great, if you go to the supermarket and you get grape juice, it's made from Concord grapes or on top of seedless grapes, and it's very sweet and not very interesting and probably not very good for your health. And yeah, it's tasteless. My husband is just telling me now. So the idea is to make a quality product from high quality grapes that could be used for wine making, which is the top quality, which would be a lot more aromatic, only Virginia grapes, and not as sweet, so healthier for you, I guess. And try to market this to not just the people coming to the tasting room, as we've done before, but in a wider on a wider market. And I just found out through going to this expo that VDAX has marketing abilities or marketing support for these value-added products.
Thank you.
Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Good. What would y'all like to do with Cardi writing a letter of support? Y'all want to make a motion or something? Let's do something of that nature.
I move that we instruct Supervisor Yao to write a letter of support for this grant application.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Sounds great, and good things for Madison, and good things for Francois and the wine industry. Anybody else have anything? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Francois.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Can I get off the phone now?
Yes, ma'am.
Safe travels.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, any other public comment? All right, let's do constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Brian, please.
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna do a community support for facilities. The boiler at the courthouse is repaired. They got the controller in, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, and got that back online. The courthouse chiller has also been repaired, so that should be back up across the board there. As of today, the alarm is fixed at the septic system at the animal control shelter. Clean's been having a few issues with it. And then working on getting 2 more bids for painting the roof of the courthouse. I don't have a lot of answers for any questions you haven't tried, then I have a question for you, so.
All right, any questions on facilities? All right, keep going, Brian.
All right, I've told a couple of you individually, but I want to give the entire board the announcement that on March 6th, the House of Representatives passed a resolution for their budget. In that resolution was a $450,000 allotment to Madison County for bi-directional amplifiers through the sheriff's office, the schools, and then ultimately the new radio system when it arrives. That is an appropriation, it's not a grant, it is not a match of any sort. As soon as the appropriation comes through, what I'm understanding is basically that money will be transferred into our account like any other, like Harvard funds and things of that nature. We're still working through that. Got an email from Ms. Spanberger's office yesterday. They want to do a press conference here on the 24th at 10 a.m. If any board members would like to join, all means will be here at 10 o'clock.
All right, well, congratulations. Anybody else have comments on this? What about just on the technical side of this? We've got to buy these bi-directional amplifiers. What's the turnaround time on those, Brian?
Those are actually not bad. I've been in touch with Motorola. They're gonna send all of us through Motorola, so the cooperative procurement that we use for the radio system itself.
Yep.
We're gonna have those folks in-house when we do coverage testing, probably be towards the end of June right now. When we do that, they'll be able to identify the dead spots and know exactly where we need to put them. Schools like the Waverly Gal, who's far away from the towers itself in a much more complex building to get coverage into, will probably be a lot more in depth. Whereas a primary school who's right underneath the tower and a single-story building may not be as in depth as that. I spoke with Motorola. The $450,000 quote is about 12 months old. I've been working on this since last March, but everything is staying in line with that fairly well. So I think we're in a good spot as far as that goes. But it's basically what it is. You're going to have an amplifier in building with an antenna system running throughout the building to catch radio signal as we're traveling through the building.
And then you'll work with facilities and the school administration to get in there and be able to, one, assess, but then two,
Right.
install, correct?
My hope is that when we identify and through coverage testing, that we will be able to get that pretty quickly and get this done before school starts in the fall.
Right.
I can't promise that, because the supply chains and everything else dictate what happens there. We'll at least have the need identified, and then we may push if we can't get it in, before the kids get in there, maybe with the Christmas break, and that type of thing.
Uh-huh.
Or we may be able to do it alongside, I mean, that'd be that invasive.
Good.
So, Brian, I think you've told us before, but this was not budgeted in our radio system project.
That's correct.
Okay, it's an addition.
The radio system itself was budgeted to restore or improve what we had already.
Right.
We had a non-proprietary system in Moto Turbo. This takes our coverage from about 65% on paper, I think it's actually less than that, to around 93% and 95% on mobile perspective. So that was the radio system itself. This is actually getting signal into those schools. When you get into heavier construction, commercial grade, you get into 6 dB, 12 dB buildings, and sometimes 24 and 36 dB, which is how well radio signal transfers to the structure itself. There's going to be dead spots. There's nothing you can do about it. With these VDAs, that goes away in the school facilities.
You guys have questions or thoughts on this? Congratulations again. This is great for Madison. And thanks, Ms. Spanberger. All right, Ms. Warren.
Afternoon. Just a couple things to highlight. Now that our fiscal year '23 audit is completed, we are now rolling into our FY '23 cost allocation plan with our auditors, so that's ongoing right now. The other couple things I wanted to mention, now that we're at the end of Q3 for our fiscal year, we are filing for our grant reimbursements, and because we talked about grants a couple times over the last couple meetings, I did want to mention the ones we have. Under DCJS, which is Department of Criminal Justice Services, we have our SRO grant, we have our Victim Witness grant, we have our Virginia Sexual and Domestic Violence Victim Fund grant, and we have a local law enforcement grant and an ARPA law enforcement grant. All of those grants for fiscal year '24 total $328,809, and we just filed for a quarter's worth, so that's just a highlight. Also working on the FY '25 budget and a review of our FY '24 expenditures to date through March. We should be at 75% through March, and we are at 73% on expenditures, so tracking well. The only other thing I'll mention is Tyler, time and attendance and advanced scheduling, which is our last piece on the financials, in the finance department that we would like to implement. That is still ongoing, and we have put some funds in the budget for FY '25, and at this point, we are going to focus on that in FY '25.
Questions for Mr. Warren? The only one, I guess, and it should be self-explanatory. Third quarter is when we traditionally get reimbursed for grants?
Every quarter.
Every quarter,
Every
okay.
quarter I file for reimbursements, and the annual total for just those grants is the $320,000.
Yes, ma'am. All right, please.
Now, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Warren, I want to address this question to you and Mr. Livingston regarding the performance issues of Tyler. Are we still contemplating moving to cloud services for that?
We are, we actually met, Bruce and I met with Magna 5, Christina, and her colleague, and they would like to provide us with a quote to do the same thing, the SaaS solution for Tyler. So they think they can do it for cheaper and provide the same level of support. So Bruce and I are going to get that quote. But long story short, I do believe, and Bruce does too, that the SaaS solution for Tyler is going to be a good move for the county.
Okay, thank you.
Ditto.
We haven't gotten to you yet, but thank you. Anything else, Ms. Warren? Thank you very much. All right. We do have Ms. Dela Cruz. Welcome. She's our victim witness coordinator. Down our agenda, we've got number 6. I think we can probably knock that one out right now. Anybody got any issue with that? Let's do it.
Yes, and Dawn is our victim witness coordinator. She has been here about 6 months now, 5 months, 6 months. And in that time, we have really enjoyed having her. She has connected with victims in a way that makes my job and Mr. Gilbert's job, I don't want to say easier, because that never happens, but a little bit smoother. For example, we have a very heavy circuit court docket tomorrow. I imagine that's why Ms. Lauk is not here. And we have a few plea agreements, and they involve parents and children and family members, and those are very sensitive cases. And so being able to know that Dawn is able to communicate with them in a way that shows compassion, that shows understanding. You know, I have talked to them myself, but even being able to just provide updates on what's happening is incredibly important for our citizens' trust in our system. And so we have a proclamation for National Crime Victims' Rights Week. I had a conversation earlier in the week, no, today's Tuesday, it was last week, with a family member of a crime victim. And one of the things that she said that really struck me is that it's not just having to go to court, it's not just having to testify, it's having to sit in the courtroom and listen to the things that the defendant might testify to or might allege that they know aren't true about their family member, their friend, or even themselves. And so it is not easy to be a victim. It's not something that you ask to do. It's not something that you want to do. It involves talking to law enforcement. And we are very fortunate to have wonderful, compassionate law enforcement in Madison County, but that doesn't solve the problem, right? You still gotta come to court multiple times. You've gotta meet with me, you've gotta meet with Dawn before court. And the process can take a long time, depending on the sort of case. So we just want to honor them, and to say that we appreciate their willingness to come forward. I know that it's crime victims, but I also think about the citizens in our community who call 911 when we see a drunk driver. You know, we've had folks who have followed drunk drivers from the Greene County line, missed the turnoff to their house, and went all the way through the last stoplight, because that was important to them to protect their community, and then they also had to come to court. And so it means a lot to me that they're willing to do that, and so we would ask the court, we ask the court to endorse this. once you start listening to those calls, it really drives home how important their jobs are and their ability to get the information out of folks when they are spun completely out of control for the most reasonable of reasons. They're just trying to help, and I am very thankful for them and their efforts, thankful for our less folks, and animal control, and our animal shelter. We don't think about them as being involved in those cases. But, you know, and that helped us with the domestic violence, making sure that their animal had a safe place for a few days while we sorted some things out. And so that's what Madison County is, and we are just beyond it. Sorry, talking more than that.
All right. Questions, comments? We do have a proclamation in front of us, National Crime Victim Rights Week from April 21st to the 27th.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I move that we endorse a proclamation for the National Crime Victim Right Week of April 21st to the 27th, 2024.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you all.
And thanks to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah, you're here. Come on, Clarissa.
Thanks. We may have some updated budget information from the General Assembly. I'm not optimistic, but it does exist. And hope springs eternal. I would like to say that Delegate Freitas really tried for Madison County this year, especially to get money for the second position in her office. And I'm very appreciative of his efforts with that. We are busy as always. The sheriff's office has rejoined the task force, and that has provided our office with some additional work, which we are grateful for. You know, we're also doing more kind of behind the scenes investigative stuff with subpoenas and that sort of thing that has passed. This morning, we had our second graduate from Madison County at the drug treatment court. We now have, I believe, one participant currently involved. I think he's in about phase 3, and then we've got at least 2, if not 3 folks that are being evaluated right now. So it is still a program for the 2 individuals. I can safely say that it prevented probably at least 3, maybe 4 years of incarceration combined. So that is a bit of a savings to the county, because a lot of that would have ended up being county time. We have a return of Dr. Parrish to the UBAER. She was a former SANE nurse doctor, so now there are 2, her and Dr. Edwards, and we've been able to work really closely with them, with law enforcement and with social services on our child abuse and sexual assault cases. And then as a final matter, IT, Alan's not here, but Alan is helping our office migrate off of the server and onto SharePoint, which we are paying for, and so we are now using to, well, we're starting to use. We're trying to work out some of the kinks, and see if it's something that might be appropriate for a countywide, or at least starting with our office. We've got, we were bogging down the servers with, they're also working on getting me a bigger hard drive.
You said there's one fella that's in phase 3 of drug court. How many phases to get through drug court?
3.
3, so he's on the last one.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Other questions for Clarissa? Thank you, Clarissa.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna head out.
Okay. Annette?
So Wind and Weather presented the shelter with a generous donation in the amount of $6,000. There have been a couple of adoption events that the shelter has been involved in. PetSmart on March the 23rd, on the 6th of April. And Jenkins for Paul is holding another event for the shelter on April the 27th. They come to the shelter and get adoptable dogs. We kind of give them a day out on the town. They go to the vineyard, they go to Yoder's Market. Just kind of gets them out, gets them seen. We've had amazing adoption numbers the last few months. So we're actually going to pull 4 to 6 puppies from the Wise County Animal Shelter. They are in need of some help. So air transport is scheduled for the 13th. Air volunteer Shannon and Stanton and bringing those puppies to Madison to assist in adopting them. I would like to work on setting up a Poppins committee meeting
Oh, yeah,
within the next few months, or weeks or months.
pretty prompt for that committee. Good.
Roland and Son. So our March numbers, 8 pet adoptions, 2 cats transferred to Hal Incorporated. I had 4 cats transferred from the Culpeper Shelter, they've all been adopted. We had 16 dog adoptions, 5 reclaims, for 1 puppy from Culpeper, that's been adopted. And at the moment at the shelter, I have 1 stray dog and 2 cats.
That's it?
That's all I have.
Very good.
So since the numbers are low, that's why I want to pull from Southwest Virginia and just try to help them out.
And I think it's worth mentioning, that's astonishing for one. Annette is working with facilities and maintenance to take advantage of our lower numbers to do any recalking or sealing around the kennels and possibly painting as well.
Yes, and Kurt was out Friday. He mulched some weeds, he mowed, he weed-eated, and actually the shelter out there was amazing.
I don't want to identify like a county around us, and they'll just start coming to us. What about like, I don't know, Fauquier or one of those counties up that way? How many animals they have in their shelter on a regular basis? Like,
Sure, but I can.
I mean, is it? I mean, I assume it's a bunch.
Yes, and I know Orange is full, and I've even attempted to pull from Orange. I pulled from Culpeper, they kind of want to work with us. But surrounding shelters are full at the moment, so I'm really happy with their numbers.
That's astounding. Good. Questions for Annette? Keep up the good work. Thank you. Sheriff? Welcome.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, I know it's been a long last couple of months. I want to thank you all for working on the budget, doing a great job. I appreciate it. Seriously, thank you. A couple of things coming up, as you know, we have our J-turn, J-cut, whatever's coming up in Shelby, supposed to start Monday. I've been trying to make some contact with VDOT, trying to get some additional information reference to, the issue at night. Give me a call. Call Cat and also Sean Nelson, when he came back from them, reference to up-to-date contact numbers. As I'm sure as you know, with upcoming our season, the big events we had, the weekend track and all other colleges, get ready, it's coming north, working on that. We've located a narcotics dog with the upper PA, 6 hour drive, so we're going up probably the 1st of May. I picked the canine out, they were trained, and within 4 to 6 weeks, if you get back here operation. We've been using some of that money out of our budget, and also we've been using some money out of our federal asset forfeiture money to help pay the payment. It's a busy season, as you know, air tractor pull, tow tractor pull, 4-H, all that's coming up. Our manpower is still 2 people short, but they're in schools, hopefully we'll get them out come July, August. We mentioned, I think, overdoses, we're continuing to have those. Or so far that we're aware of. Past month, we found some new type of fentanyl, in color, known as a traffic stop. So that's at the lab now, we're trying to find out exactly what that is, so it's having a lot of. So with that, any questions, I'll be really happy to try it.
It's pink, yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, just when you think. All right, question for the sheriff. Thank you. Yes, sir. All right, Greg. Oh, yeah. It's been, our last one was, what, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah, we've really been on it. Go ahead.
All right, so, rundown of our call, 61 handled in person, 76 handled by phone, 29 after hour emergency calls. Attended a couple meetings, public safety meetings, the LAPC meeting, complete mapping discussion. And I'll update you on Alex Fincham. He's away attending the academy. He started last Monday. Hopefully everything goes well. It'll be official on next Thursday. Next Thursday can't come soon enough. And then we did take a Justice Clearinghouse hosted another training, online training, which was approved for continuing credits and was free. That's good. And I just wanted to update the board without going into a lot of detail. I cannot at this time. We do have an individual that's in the county. We took possession of a dog from another county. It was declared dangerous in Shenandoah County. And I met with the owner and made aware of all the stipulations, everything that he needs to do. And he has only a certain time limit, he has to have all this done by, so 30 days time period that he has to comply by. The dog is being confined at this time, so no worries there. It's inside at his residence, and it's crated, and it's not home. And there's just been in contact with several agencies, and Mr. Weekly, Commonwealth Attorney, County Attorney, has been involved, and Stephanie actually made contact with her because there's actually a special dog tag, just your regular lifetime tag. So reached out to the state veterinarian's office, they sent us a set of 10, and they're a whole lot higher than our lifetime tags. I believe it's $150 per tag first year, and it's $85 renewal after that. So I want to make you aware at this time, so.
It's weird information, Greg. I've never heard this ever before. I mean, what else should? Yeah, no,
I believe the last dangerous dog that we had in the county, because there's a lot of stipulations, and a lot of people cannot reach to and comply with everything that the code lists. One of them is the $100,000 insurance bond that you have to get on the dog once it's declared dangerous. I want to say the last one was before my time, of course, it was like 20-some years ago.
well,
That's pretty
yeah,
dangerous.
I never. No,
I'll keep updated
Oh.
as I can.
All right, anybody have questions for Greg? All right, keep up the good work. Thank you, Greg. Gavin? Yeah, I don't know why, I got a bunch of questions too, but I think I got legal responsibility not to ask. All right, Gavin.
Couple of changes since I filed the report. I've been meeting with Willie Lang, the engineer for the school generator project, who wants to change possibly the middle school rather than the high school due to technical issues he's got to get past on that. I want to get apprised of what he wants to do exactly, and then I'll contact Pete and to get it approved for a change of site. They may need some other information at that point, but we can walk exactly on. Tomorrow night, we have the facility tour at the Mountain View Nursing Home for public safety. Ryan over at Mountain View has been very gracious with that. He wants to get the first responders in there, in a way, honor them as well, but also a training opportunity to really do a good site survey to find out what we've got there, not only in the nursing home, but the campus as a whole. So that's tomorrow at 7 at Mountain View. We did the Quaker Run wildfire debrief yesterday. It was well attended, and I think Brian and I both got some really good notes out of there on some things of improving process and staffing and the whole shot. So we'll be working on that over the next couple of months. updates up to Tyler to them, so we can start the process of being reimbursed. If we meet all the criteria. And that is all I have for you, unless you have anything for me.
We have any questions for Gavin? Gavin, thank you. Noah?
Good afternoon. March was busy, 175 calls. We did have an increase in our average response time when we reviewed the locations. It was more towards the outskirts of the county, which is why we went up. Continuing to help our mutual aid partners. We currently do have 2 vacancies in EMT and a lieutenant. We did conduct interviews last week, and today we held lieutenant interviews, which internal 3 candidates. I'm excited. There's interest there. This is a hot topic, and it seems to move every day. So the Cliff Notes version, the Board of Pharmacy, DEA, they have new regulations on how EMS agencies acquire drugs. Historically, we've been able to partner with hospital pharmacies. Right now, we're with Culpeper 1-for-1. There's no charge. But due to the basically chain of custody of these medications, we're likely, again, it's dynamic, going to have to buy our own medications and have a way to store them. So in my report, I'm estimating $15,000 if we have to buy, and then to be able to regulate and control the medications themselves. The current recommendation is a vending machine, and that's coming in at $16,500. I've been in contact with Wintergreen to try and do a partnership to try and increase our buying power for these. I'm also each week in touch with Effie at TGIMS, getting his guidance. So TGIMS is the Thomas Jefferson EMS Council, where he's getting information from the state. So it's a very dynamic discussion. November 27th is when drug boxes go away. Thankfully, we don't have those. We have our own. But this is a big impact for a lot of other agencies, and it will impact us if we have to start buying products. I'm staying on top of it. I appreciate Ms. Warren's how I send her emails, I feel like every day, like, actually, this is the new update. But want to make y'all aware of the potential costs.
All right.
Questions on the Board of Pharmacy?
Yeah, no, just on the cost. The vending machine's like a safe that dispenses medication as needed. The $15K for the medications, is that something that we would pass along to potential clients' insurance, or it would be reimbursed to us? How does that work?
So we do currently bill for service.
Yeah, soft billing.
I wouldn't see any change in revenue based off of that.
Okay,
It wouldn't change. We already do.
all right, okay.
So I don't understand, what initiated this change, Noah?
That's the question of the decade, because I've been tracking this for many years. The concern is narcotics, controlled substances, and who owns them? So right now, technically, the drugs we carry, Culpeper Pharmacy owns them, but we're holding them.
Uh-huh.
And the higher powers to be, if we're gonna hold them, we need to own them. That's kind of the idea behind it.
Well, this looks like our OMD,
Yeah.
what does he have to, I mean, looks like they would lean on him. It would be up to him to assure the pharmacy in Culpeper that we are acting properly.
Here, I'm with you, he's with you. I emailed rather sternly, I shouldn't say sternly, but who's gonna pay for this? That'd be to relay our concerns, that y'all are passing this new regulation down to the locality, and we're having to come up with $30-some thousand. And I've not gotten an answer back.
So all the members in TGIMS are in the same boat here?
Thankfully, I always like to look for the good We're not having to manage multiple departments. To our partners in Culpeper, ACFR, Albemarle Fire and Rescue, they have multiple stations under their umbrella. Here in Madison, we have one, and that makes this process 500 times.
All right, Judd?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Why wouldn't we use our own pharmacy in Madison, or is it a state issue, or how is that?
It's again who owns it. So since we're administering the medications, the current thought is or not thought, regulation, is we need to purchase them, they come to us, and then we dispense them, then we restock them, and it's this circle.
Why do we use Culpeper and not Madison? Pharmacy. I mean, even now.
We have our own pharmacy, our department, the EMS department. I don't know if that answers.
No, I'm sorry.
You are not going to CVS to get
What?
these
So
medications.
it's called a controlled substance
There you go.
registration, which we have. So we, for years now, Madison EMS, we have our own pharmacy within the department. But we've been able to partner with Culpeper Pharmacy to get these medications one for one for free. The other way. These changes are impacting that to where UVA is actually, I can call it the mothership. They're going to tell Culpeper potentially that they're no longer able to provide us one for one medications. So that's when we started researching our annual use of medications, the expiration time for said medications, and reevaluating what medications we carry to be able to justify purchasing. So there are some that are very high dollar amounts with low expiration dates that we don't give that often, that we shouldn't be carrying them. We also want to be very careful that we don't want to impact the care delivery to folks that might be. So, I mean, it's quite a discussion. As all agency chiefs, board supervisors, big question marks in funding, how does the process look like? And it's dynamic. Literally each week we get something new. Last week, I was prepared to come ask you for $30-some thousand, and then I got guidance, don't spend a penny, there's changes coming. I'm like, okay, we're not gonna spend a penny. But I want to inform you all of the potential worst case scenario, which I'll hopefully have good guidance in November. I hope that answers the question. Some of those hard discussions.
Isn't DEA involved in this
Who is-
somehow?
Who is the Board of Pharmacy to? Is that a state or a federal group? All right.
So we're licensed through the Virginia Board of Pharmacy to have our own.
All right.
But if there's narcotic diversion, any issues, that's from the drug enforcement agency comes in.
As it should.
And says, they do their investigation.
If we were to get the vending machine, it would be basically it would be like a service contract with a vendor that would have their own pharmacy license and be able to restock as needed?
We would have to we would retain our current pharmacy license. We would buy the vending machine, medications that we purchase, go into the vending machine. And then there's tracking, so there's a biometric or
Yeah.
key code.
All right.
So no access vending machine at set time, date and time. This is what is taken. So it's all.
Yeah, no, that's the question. Who do we purchase these pharmaceuticals from?
Right now, nobody.
Culpeper provides us when we give them some type of sheet that's very official, that says, we've used these, this is what we used them for, we need to be put back in our pharmacy. If we buy a vending machine that doesn't say Pfizer on the front face or something, who comes and delivers this to us?
So we partner with a company called Life Assist.
Okay.
Also Boundary, where we buy the medications from. My particular concern is, I'm not worried about aspirin, I'm worried about them. So
Yeah.
I've not reached out to the Madison pharmacy, but one thought is to have your controlled substances delivered here locally to the pharmacy. And we have a relationship with the Madison pharmacy to figure out the chain of custody. Because what I don't want is a box of fentanyl in
Seems reasonable, yeah, we're all together.
My name's on the DA list.
All right.
I really don't want, so, like I said, it's a lot of discussion, but we do have two vendors if we had to buy the medicines. We've done the research again, looking at the last 2 years of the medications used, the frequency, that's where I'm coming up with the 15K.
Okay. All right, more to,
We still need to be able to maintain the 1 Cronin with Culpeper. That's the best case scenario.
all right, there's more information to come on this, is what's very
Yeah.
obvious.
So I have two. One, this, if there were a change, I believe we're tracking as November as an implementation date.
November 27th for the drug boxes. I'm advised the end of this month, early May, the Board of Pharmacy is going to release their new regulations out to everybody, which, as you can imagine, is multiple pages, so that'll be under review. And then we'll have better clarity. I'm predicting early May, mid-May, before we for sure.
Okay, so what we'll do, Mr. Chairman, to answer your question, yes, there will be additional follow-up, there will be some medical and legal review. I would also like to ask Ms. Warren to speak to, we have a backstop if funding or whatever, we're going to pursue those other avenues, whether it's, you just mentioned Pepe, and I lost my thought, EMS.
T-Gems.
Thank you, PGIMS.
We give them warning.
T-Gems,
Yeah.
or some other funding source, but if not, we have a backstop, and I'd like for Ms. Warren to speak from a funding side of the vendor machine and how we could purchase.
So for FY '24, if we needed to appropriate funds, we could do a supplemental appropriation. We have 2 revenue streams that are extremely higher than budgeted. One is interest income, and one is I believe our ambulance billing transport line item in revenues is another option where we could pull from. So just 2 options.
How long have they been talking about doing this massive change?
5+ years.
Yeah, all right, I'm holding my breath. I'm glad everybody's got their stuff together, and it looks like there's more information to come. Anybody else have any questions on this? What else do you have for us, Noah?
Real quick, our mobile integrated healthcare, I'd like to recognize Tiffany Randbarger, she's leading that up. The goal of the program is to deliver higher quality and more cost-effective medical care by coordinating resources and helping patients get the right care at the right location, including assisting them in taking better care of themselves. So the idea is to be proactive, not reactive. We're starting very small. I attended a conference in Nashville the other week. This is the future of EMS. If we can keep the emergency from coming in, it just trickles down. Less EMS resources needed, you're more involved with the community, health improves. So it really is a win-win-win. But it's new. This is a new concept with everyone. We are starting to see this locally. Wintergreen, Rockingham, and so forth, they've implemented. Orange is trying to get theirs going. But I imagine in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be looking back and this is huge. I think it's really going to be good for Madison. But we want to get the foundation solid before we really go forward. I guess the last thing, Fredericksburg, they held a small department conference, which was really beneficial, networking with other agency chiefs. We all have similar topics, so it was good looking.
Very good. Anything else for Noah? Noah, thank you. Yes, sir. Jamie Wilkes, tell us about building and zoning and all the fun stuff that happens down there. Oh, yeah, that's the way we think of it.
All righty, well, good afternoon, and just another reminder, I remind everyone, the new state building vote has taken effect. Last month, I attended the BBCOA mid-year conference, where all the code officials get together and do training and networking. And a big plus out of it is the state has provided us another subscription to the ICC digital code. We don't have to buy hundreds of books. It's all electronic in here. We had 2, we got a 3rd one now, so another plus. In the report is the monthly permits issued last month. Next month,
May is Building Safety Month. They've been doing this for, I think it's 44 years now, and we take part in it. And now, what I plan on doing is holding a code update training next month. It's still inside with Building Safety Month. We're gonna have I guess it's called, we'll focus on the residential code, significant changes, because that's our main goal, our main focus here. Let's see, zoning wise, next Monday, our new planning and zoning administrator will be here, Tracy Patterbuck. We're very excited. Everyone's looking forward to it. We actually had to stop by last week, to come down and meet some folks. And we'll just continue working with the partner agencies. In erosion sediment control, just a reminder, we're working on the changes mandated through DEQ. We worked with Ann and Jonathan about this. Joe, our E&S administrator, has really stepped up. Got a zoning administrator, plan review, site plans, someone had to take over. He's been doing that, doing a really good job at it. And speaking of Joe, he just got another certification through the state, through DHED. Now he's a certified residential building inspector.
Good.
I'm kind of proud of him on that.
Good.
And last but not least, we're still working towards our Tyler Munis implementation. We're almost there, but that close. We're very excited once we get there to it. That's pretty much all I have for today, unless you have any questions.
Where are you gonna do your code update training for everybody? Right in here?
Right here.
There you go.
We use the big screen.
Good.
PowerPoint, all those,
Put up some advertisements, share it online.
Today, get, like Cardinal, and everywhere else, we're still on the website, and everywhere else you can think of.
Judd?
We have 108 permits this month, right? 108 permits you'd mentioned. How does that compare to last year, same time, the same? Are we looking at
I
more?
really don't know.
Okay.
I mean, the software we have now is not a function. Our new software will be able to check month to month, year to year, but other than going back to the files.
Just interested to see how our economy's
From
going
our
and,
perspective, it's been about the same, maybe a slight decrease, but barely even noticeable. The workload we're covering.
okay, thanks.
Mr. Buchanan, we'll go back through and skim and bring that back as a follow-up email to the board.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything from Mr. Wilks? Thank you, Jamie. All right, Livingston.
I guess what I should just do is start looking at the list here. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Tyler tickets over the last couple of weeks that we're working with those folks all day, every day.
That's encouraging.
Getting things ready. There's still things that are needing to be tweaked. And some things are not working exactly as they expected. We've also been definitely getting comfortable with their support team. We've had a few battles with them, but everybody has came down on the side of it's all better at this point. So we got a better understanding, they got a better understanding. You can't just wait a week. Like I said, I've asked people to just let us know, and they said that they get the Tyler. So we did set up a computer that's dedicated to those folks coming in and jumping on. That should help with Jennifer's. I'm telling Jennifer, we can't get on, we can't find nobody. No, we're ready. We're ready whenever they need to get on. So we're still going down the Tyler adventure. What next? Wild card cert renewal, I know, I don't want to cloud your head there.
Yeah, what is that? I have no idea. I don't even want to know. Keep going.
Our website's working.
All right, good.
And we had to get that thing applied in a bunch of different locations over the last week or two. Revenue One repository had a problem one day. That's basically Avidity in the way that Stephanie and them take in money. They lost connectivity on that. It's not on my list, but so did the animal shelter and the animal control department. Somebody put that out with a vehicle in it that had a connection. But that's all back up and running again. As Clarissa mentioned, Alan's been doing a lot of work on the not the smart sheet.
SharePoint.
The SharePoint, setting them up and getting their data up in the cloud, easier to get to, it's secure and takes the load off of our servers also. We replaced the microphone in here. And we're monitoring their space for the laserfish. It's filling up faster than we thought, so somewhere down next year, we may have to start talking about increasing that space, depending on how many other departments start using it. But more folks have been using laserfish than I thought. They are scanning things in, and it is going into that repository, and it is growing. So that's one other thing to keep in mind. Put in a new Wi-Fi at the camper. CCTV at EMS, we got that guy coming out there to help with them. I guess it's for the new, medication, vending machines and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
good.
All
All right.
I mean, other than that, it was just ordering computers, fixing computers, paying bills, things of that nature.
All right. Anybody?
I got more if you want.
No, that's probably enough. It sounds like you've been busy. We're glad to see it. Hopefully Tyler goes better.
I didn't even get to my third page.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Livingston.
Be right down.
All right, Sean.
Good afternoon. For the month of March, the 911 center, we received 170 911 calls from home phone, 402 calls from cell phone. Also, administrative calls that we took were 3,323, and we actually made 1,205 calls. For a total number of calls through our center of 5,100, which is a increase in 151% from the same time last year, and then also 126% from the year-to-date from last year. Our calls for service for the month was 1,189 calls, for a total for this year so far of 3,598, and that's up 105%. So once again, we're continuing to see the trend every month we're continually busy. The radio project continues on. Brian, I don't know if you mentioned the Churchill Tower is up, the shelter's in place, and working continuing there. For my staffing, I still have 2 vacancies. I do have the application process open. I do have an interview tomorrow. My one trainee is doing very well, and she'll be attending the academy the next class, which is June 3rd. After that, I would like to take time to the March 20th event that we had in windstorm and fires. I want to commend our dispatchers that were on duty at that time. In the 4-hour period in the afternoon, our call volume increased to 256%. And just as dispatchers aware, and he was on duty. Dispatcher Miriam, who's here, she actually dispatched herself to the center to assist. She saw the smoke. Supervisor Shiplett came in early, and Assistant Director Richards helped out also. During that time, where we were at a 256% increase, at no time did a 911 call bring more than 10 seconds. So that is a great job, and it really shows the competency and the dedication of our dispatchers. And I wanted to really commend them and have a job well done. With that, also, next week is Dispatcher Appreciation Week, April 14th through the 20th. Keep your dispatchers in mind. Stop by, say hello, thank you, drop a line, whatever, but we're going to be doing things for them throughout the week. For community outreach, I was able to get one additional member on our senior call-in list, and I'm still continuing to look for ways to get the word out for that and get help with patients. That, in my report, I have a question.
Anybody? Ladies, thank you very, very much for what you did during the windstorm and then just generally every day. Everybody in Madison appreciates it a
And I also
bunch.
just want to, they're here to kind of give you a face of, they want support for the compensation study. It really shows that their dedication, their ability, and really should, they look for, to be rewarded. And I think compensation study is a good way to do that, bring it to a level that's competitive with peer review.
Thank you. We put in the programming so that we could take text messages.
Yes, sir.
Are we getting any of them?
Yes, we generally get,
I hope it's not very many.
1 to 5 a week.
All right.
The majority of them are from alarm companies.
All right.
People that have, they subscribe to ADT or something like that, and it's a program where they just text in to us that there's an alarm activated at this residence or at this business. And that's generally where our texts are right now.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have questions? Thank you all very much. All right. Tracy, come on up.
Going to go back to Francois' grant. So, that was ARPA funds, so to see something like that for up to $100,000 in their match.
It's great.
That was really good news. And also looking at an infrastructure grant through VDAX, possibly 10 times as well. It does require that, so I have to do some more work on that one.
How much on that one?
Don't know yet.
Oh,
The information I left you was the census data for ag profiles from 2022, only because the food council meeting was yesterday and we just received that. I didn't even realize that they did it every 5 years, so by the time you get it, so it seems like it's kind of old information. Michelle Edwards from the Rappahannock Regional Commission, the takeaway from it was for, of course, we have less farms, but the ones that we have, the acreage has increased. And also that orchards have had to come back since 2012, which contributes that to cider. So, there you go. I did attend Evergreen/Plowhorse on-site rapid response employee informational session, March 27th, and they really did an outstanding job. I just felt like I needed to be there. They answered every question they could possibly have, told them exactly when to do what, how to plan, how to get training, how to get more education, and how to roll into another job, and also as a reminder, if anybody complains, because our business expo is gonna be a job fair, we're also allowing extra businesses coming in. Madison has served bids, but other businesses that are hiring can also.
What's the date of that, Tracy?
That is Thursday, May 23rd,
Thank you.
and that portion is, of course, not specifically for that. And before I forget, on my list, Terry from Madwood wanted me to get the RCPs from anyone that wanted to attend the grand opening of Madhouse. I think Buchanan wanted to attend, and that is April 16th. If you want the media to come, I'm trying to help her with that. She's not getting responses from the media. So if you've noticed, it's called Madhouse. It used to be Body Expressions.
He's been banned, he's been banned from Facebook for like a month, so, all right, keep going.
Should have specified, not local media. The media that only wants interviews when it's facts.
Oh.
Not with TV. Yes, TV, yes, exactly. So they have actually 4,000 square foot break room for their employees. So they can have space to unwind, collaborate, and recharge, ultimately enhancing their overall work experience. And it's gonna have flat screen TVs, Xbox, computer stations, commercial bathrooms.
You sell it, yeah, there you go.
Food truck, electrical hookups, and more. So anyone else wants to attend that, let me know, or you can let her know, but I can contact her. It's very, very good.
Good.
And I attended the VITA conference, the Virginia Economic Development Association conference, March 14th and 15th. And the State Economic Development Partnership reiterated their top sectors, which is knowledge work, which we are included in that. Business and financial services, that's also one of our local ones. And also manufacturing, food and beverage. And while there, learned that we're part of it, but in the Seaville BioHub, we actually already have a biotech company that's participating in that, so we actually use that lab space up there. So that was interesting to hear. And another note tidbit that I shared with Mr. Weekly, considering we just restarted basically our official economic development program in 2015, after not having it for a couple of years. The state didn't do a strategic plan in 2017. That was new. And now we've got all this going on thanks to Jim and his efforts, and also culminating with the comprehensive economic development strategy for both regions
on Facebook, putting up the same things, sectors, what we should be looking for, and site readiness and all that. The hot word on the street is about Hunting Hotel actually being listed for sale, and there's already interest. But that's quite the project. And there's been a gentleman that's been reaching out for years or more, and he doesn't like the price. So, but there's more interest, so that could actually happen. Batty Call was on March 14th, but I had to watch it later. Firefly due to complete by August 25th, and the new grant, the Batty 2024, they submitted December of last year. There was only a couple challenges in Cumberland County, and so they should hereby in mid-year, and that was the one that's going to cover everything that's not already covered. So, moving right along. They also want to make sure we're telling residents to go to their website versus calling them for updates. So going to the fireflyva.com and hitting the projects tab. Ribbon cutting at Mad Pepper, March 18th. They seem to be doing well. We did host a dementia-friendly community informational meeting, which turned into everybody leaving with their actual decals, saying they were dementia-friendly. We had 6 people. That was the day after the fire. So. Advisory Council for our planning grant on March 25th. That's going well. Benny's waxing ribbon cutting was April 1st, and some other good news on that note. April 1st marked the 50th anniversary of the Bavarian Chef. 46 years for Weaver Automotive, 37 years of Pig and Steak, and still celebrating 40 years of Yours. So we've got some good stuff on as well.
That's great.
Realtor Roundtable is here tomorrow, April 10th. Brad Jarvis is going over his farm program, which will be held on May 30th. Before you
Retires, yeah.
Attending Beto virtually on the 11th. That's the Virginia Agricultural Development Officers meeting. Tourism committee meeting also April 16th. April 17th, another grammar involvement is co-hosting a focus group for our regional entrepreneurship initiative. And that's another Go Virginia grant. And we've got 4, I think, already coming. That's from every sector. And that is developing community strategy for entrepreneurship and small businesses. We're featured as a part of the Dollar Madison Garden Club, April 20th. We've got ads in that.
Which houses are on that? Which houses are on that? There you go.
Business Appreciation Dinner is Monday, May 20th. And already working on Taste of Mountains. And of course, our quad tank is June 13th for anybody wanting to compete for $5,000. Updating the brochure in July, send out. And we're getting requests for more brochures all the time. 100%. We received new Civil War Trails brochures as well. And also just to mention the economic development portion of our conferences, the cultivating relationships that take years and years. Albemarle got a lead on Virginia tourism for a location for a very well-known director. And because he knew we had some locations that weren't listed, he sent it out to all of us. And he actually liked a place that we sent over, but it's in hold at the moment, but it's in the top running right now. So the last time we had like a big one was Evan Almighty, 2008. And for those who don't know, so the old lace factory that's got the chain fence, they use the inside of that for the inside of the house for Evan Almighty. Several people locally were extras in that, and they spent at least $100,000 in the supplies. So,
Good. It's great. Oh, yeah.
there you go. That's all.
All right, anybody have any questions for Tracy? Sounds like you're doing a lot. Thank you, Tracy. Commish, come on up and tell us things.
Good afternoon. General reassessment's kind of in full swing now. We got 3 folks out for the Wingate appraisal. Got badges, thanks to Gavin.
Oh, good.
Should be ID, marking on the cars. If there's any information anybody needs, please reach out to my
You
office.
came out and saw me last week. They couldn't have been any nicer. Like, they were nice and realistic and, I mean, everything under the sun. They were really, really good. Yeah.
Said they're very nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Gotta take that.
Skip.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah, exactly.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah, super good.
We did see 25 million in new growth, and if you were asking, and that's on par with, I think it was like 24.5 last year. So year-over-year new construction growth is solid. 25 million seems normal. It's always in that little range there. Just gearing up for the setting tax rate and get the first half going.
Do you have any questions for Brian? Brian, thank you. I don't think there's anybody else we could ask to come up. All right, let's go to the consent agenda. We've got minutes from 2/29/2024, 3/06/2024. We have supplemental appropriation number 10, which is an additional state funding for DSS. I think that's $64,225. And then we've got supplemental appropriation number 11, which is use of contingency funds for the deputy county administrator position. I think that's 96,505, isn't it? Ms. Warren, you want to fill us in?
Some leave payouts.
Yeah.
On that.
Yes. Thank you.
Supplemental appropriation number 11 is 96,505, and that's basically from December 1st through June 30th for that, for the assistant county administrator position. Plus, we had 2 large leave payouts, and we have a separate contingency fund for accumulated leave that we use. So this supplemental takes care of those 2 items. And the balance in contingency after this supplemental appropriation would be $206,247.
What was that again? 2 what?
$206,247.
206.
And on the supplemental for DSS, there would be no additional local funding. It's basically the need. I think they have more kids in the foster care system, so they were able to get additional funding.
Questions on any of that? What would you all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. No special appearances, no old business, new business. Mr. Warren, tell us about the radio project capital fund update, please.
So we met, Brian Gordon has gone through in extensive detail the budget and where we're at with expenditures against budget and what's remaining on this project. And if you look at the second page, if you want to scroll down to one more page, this is what Brian put together for us. He is planning on, with a contingency of $80,000 built in, just in case something happens, the total future needs left would be $103,000. And as of April, expenditures were $1.6 million. The borrowed bond proceeds remaining, a little over $2.2 million. So at the end of a project, we should have roughly about $508,000 left over of the bond proceeds, and it could be even higher than that by $80,000 if we don't need that contingency money he's built in. So what we are recommending with this $508,000, if you scroll up in the capital budget, we can use the bond proceeds for the EMS station renovation. We could move the $500,000 from the line item for public safety radio system down into the EMS station capital budget, which would basically take that budget for EMS station renovation to $1.5 million. So the recommendation would be to move the $500,000 at this point from the one budget to the other. So no change in any sort of move from operating over to capital, no increase in that. It's really just moving dollars from one budget category to the other.
There's no reason that we potentially would get above that 80K.
Brian said that's a very generous additional. He did not feel like we would even touch that, so.
He's factoring in, as you know, we had the fiber that we had to pay for, new fiber from FT Valley up to the tower site, so that has that money in it. There was a consultant, I believe Mission Critical, that was hired as part of this project, so we believe there will be some significant funds left over from that. So the conversation we had was be conservative, but let's have a number that we think will be remaining. You may recall, I think sometime last year before, it's whenever the primary school renovation was closing out, we sought out bond counsel and got a written statement from them that it is okay to use remaining bond proceeds, if you choose fit, for another county or school project. Again, to move anything within a capital budget, that requires board approval. We're just saying that we'll have those funds we anticipate at a minimum left over. We would recommend moving it into the EMS renovation. I know I have some comment around that here shortly of where we're at up to date, but it does make sense of a good place to move those funds into that capital category.
Well, anybody have questions immediately? Make your comments about where we're at on the EMS renovation.
So the EMS renovation, we're officially out for bids. They are due back April 18th. We do not know what that number will be. We do know that most likely with inflation and other factors, the 771 or 780 number, it will be higher than that. We've done what I would call basics but functionable items requested or required in this renovation, but we'll have to wait and see when the bids come in. I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I believe we had at least, I think, around 10 contractors show up for the pre-bid. Pre-bid does not mean that's everyone that would submit a bid. Also, you cannot safely assume that all 10 would do that, but it was encouraging. A couple of those folks were somewhat local. There was no one there that was, you could put Madison resident beside their name, but a couple of adjoining county contractors. So we believe a good turnout. It's just, what will that number be? And again, I think there were 3 options that were listed in our preliminary engineering report when we were considering this renovation. One was a minor renovation is needed, which is what we chose, what you chose. Option 2 was a tear down part of the building, rebuild with some renovations to the front where living quarters, if you will, are at. And option 3 would be a complete mow that building over, put up anew. We will receive those bids on April 18th, and we'll see where it goes. Naturally, we will pull that information together and have that at your April 23rd meeting, which I know is a longer meeting with budget and so forth. But we need to talk about that once those numbers come in.
All right, questions for Mr. Weekly or Ms. Warren?
Well, nothing other than, I want to avoid, just because we added $500,000 to the EMS
100%.
facility, doesn't mean I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna trick up my automobile to spend that money, okay? Back when we first started, we were talking 800, then we put $1 million in the budget. So,
I think that we're gonna have to, once these bids come in on April 18th, depending on how close they are to what we've originally estimated, it's gonna kind of deem a path that we move forward. If they come in at such a higher rate than what we anticipate, then chances are we're gonna have to regroup and try to figure out some alternatives and some plans.
You'll have options
I
to
couldn't agree
reject
with you more.
bids or award a bid.
Yeah.
And your awarded would lock you into what that price is.
Sure.
So even if we had 1.5, let's say it came back favorable at 800,000, then that's the number that you lock into.
sure. That said, for the staff that's working on this, it's been, when did we close on the building? Was it over a year ago? So it's been a year. So 800,000 last year, certainly we're gonna.
Plus the $500K we paid for the building.
Well, yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So anyhow.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait till the 18th. I don't think there's another responsible direction to go, and this is definitely not a blank check, just saying go,
That is correct.
and nobody in Madison County operates like that, good Lord. What would y'all like to do with the $508,045 from the bonds proceeds? Would you wanna move it over to the EMS renovation item?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Further discussion?
Just one comment, Mr. Chairman. would it be helpful if we did not move that money right away, but keep it back in case we needed it? I'm just saying.
No, that's why I asked
encouraging
my.
higher bids.
No, yeah.
I was going to say, this really was more informational as far as where we're at with the radio project and what we're recommending. However, if you want to wait until April 23rd, when the budget and operating and capital budget are approved, we could do it that evening, and Jonathan will have more information at that time.
Well, I think we should push it away from May 23rd,
Yeah.
because May 23rd is going to be a super,
Yeah,
it's a
April
good
23rd.
suggestion for sure, but
April
it's going to be a heavy April
Okay.
23rd, excuse me.
I fully appreciate the question or comment as well. Certainly anything you do, someone can be watching online. I will say,
They're
the
not.
bids are sealed bids, and then we open them that day. Again, staff has no authorization to move forward expending unless you all
What-
determine on a award for the project.
We agree with that.
But,
There-
well, we can talk about the financing when bids come in, if it's something that's favorable. But, anyway, just clearly state that you all would decide
Oh,
to proceed or not and what amount.
there is a motion and a second. The option's been thrown out there to move it to May 23rd, or April 23rd, excuse me. I think it'd probably be better if we did it at the first meeting in May. There is a motion and second on the floor, so we do need to go ahead and vote on that. Any other discussion?
So would moving it later trigger, with 500,000, would that trigger a budget amendment?
No,
That's not high
these
enough.
funds are
No.
there in your FY '24 budget. You're just, in order to move between capital projects, that is board approval. So that funding is there. You're just moving it from
Yeah,
the radio
so-
project
so-
over.
That's, yes, exactly. The direction would be, if it doesn't mess with anything, and it doesn't appear to in any way, or trigger, what is it, is it a 2%, or 1%?
Anything over 1%.
Yeah, there you go.
But you're not adding.
We're not doing that.
But the notice to proceed, even if, let's keep
Yeah.
fingers crossed, get something favorable, the notice to proceed probably wouldn't come until close to June. That means when they would actually start. So I think there's some time if the
Yeah.
board wants to
So-
decide to move later, if it's April 23rd or May, whatever the
Whatever,
first meeting,
yeah.
or tonight. Again, that's a board decision of moving the funds, and it's a board decision to approve or reject a bid.
But y'all be moving the funds in the FY '25 budget, not in the FY '24 appropriations, is that right?
It's
We're talking FY
24.
'20.
Right.
Right.
So it would officially move in FY '24 if the vote was tonight.
Oh,
But if we decided to do it with the FY '25 budget adoption, it would be effective for that, adopt the FY '25 budget, capital budget.
Yeah, so it's increasing, so you're taking 508, I think the
Yep,
number was, from
500.
your FY '24, your current radio projects.
Just moving
And you're
categories.
putting it 508 to your FY '25 capital funding for your EMS renovation.
All right, has everybody got that? Understand? And it seems like probably it would be prudent if we were to move this at the first meeting, if it's still available, at the first meeting in May. Everybody got it? Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Aye. Nay, yeah, I guess. And then anybody abstain? All right, so we're not doing it tonight. You all want to add it to the agenda for the first meeting in May?
Yes, sir.
Let's do that. Thank y'all. All right, any other comments or questions on the radio project fund balance? Y'all have seen the tower, is it ruining the Etlin area? It's horrible down there, all the beauty that we all appreciate is gone.
I
Got
had
it.
a little trouble pointing it out to some people up there. It's like, there it is, right where? Right there.
There you go. Oh, there you go. All right. No discussion. Information and correspondence we've already done the EMS renovation. Mr. Weekly, tell us about all the fun we're gonna have on the 23rd.
Yes, sir. As customary, staff informed you of upcoming public hearings that have been advertised. So for the April 23rd meeting, we have 4 items listed as public hearings. We have the calendar year 2024 tax rate ordinance. So that assumes if you were looking to adopt or approve the budget that night, when you are proposing a change to taxes or a tax rate, it's done normally via an ordinance. If you are looking to no change, you do reserve the right to pass via a resolution. So the tax rate ordinance is being proposed because right now there is a proposed 40 cents increase to the personal property tax rate, going from $3 to $3.40. Next is your FY '25 administrative fee public hearing. There are no changes there. You're required to have it and put your fees out there for the public to see. The FY '25 budget. And lastly, the FY '25 secondary 6-year plan. That is the date that we've set with VDOT to be present. So that rounds out your public hearings for the 23rd.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
really, really fun. All right. Anybody got comments on any of that?
One real quick one is that I understand, if I understand this HB 74, I think it was.
For roads.
For the roads, that under the rural rustic, it used to be either you pave it or nothing. Now, it looks like the HB 74 will give us the opportunity, like down in Novum, we're talking about that road needs to be improved, but not necessarily paved. So now you can use rural rustic money to improve and not have to pave. So going forward for a secondary 6-year plan,
If we can get
there
a
may
dollars
be
to stretch.
yeah. Roads could be improved. So,
I wonder,
anyhow.
like maybe something with Turner Drive too now. I mean, that's a long range, but.
Yeah.
Turner
Some of
drives
those-
it, yeah.
No, my apologies.
No,
Did you,
no.
did I
I
understand
want
that
to
correctly?
wait.
Have you seen
I
it?
didn't mean to-
Nah, go ahead, go ahead.
You know, some of the roads, certainly, I know Parish was a road that was
Yeah.
mentioned, a portion of Clore Road. You have Turner that could possibly be, there was one other road I'm missing in there. But all in all, the secondary 6-year road plan or the rural rustic allows to go further because it's more chip and tar than it is pavement like you see on 29. However, it allows you to approach a road differently where, you know, it's not just focused on traffic counts and so forth, so they can handle some ditching or widen if necessary, or just do those improvements without widening the road. So it gives them more flexibility to do that. So those roads that each of you or some of you just mentioned are roads we could ask VDOT to take another look at now that this bill has been signed.
Thought that was a good thing. Anyhow.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything?
One comment, Mr. Chairman, and this goes back to the conversation Mr. Weekly and I had. What possible federal money's out there to improve some of these areas that are, some of the road areas, like the Turner Drive project or some of the other roads we mentioned? Is there any money that we could go after for that?
So federal, and some of the grants or dollars I've seen come through, they are looking at, and I will forward you so you all can see the actual language. They're looking to tie in some transportation to get people from certain areas to employment. If there's some environmental benefit, also they target, I don't know if impoverished is the correct term, but you can show a benefit of improvement for a certain area of community. But I will forward you all that information. I could check with Sean Merida's office as well as Congressman Good's office to see if we have some of those. It's a little different with maybe Parish Road and Clore Road. I can see if there's another road that would qualify. for that. So let me send you the criteria, and I will talk with Sean Nelson about that. And he can give me a little more guidance to see if some of the roads we've looked at, certainly, you and I, we've been out to Turner Drive before, and can that help push the needle? Because that's going to be an expensive project, whether there's some local match, or if we're trying to do it through 6-year plan, or if we're trying to do it with some of the other monies that's available to the county via state. So that would be the way to speed that process up. So I'll send criteria and follow up.
Thank you.
Yes,
Wouldn't
sir.
potentially your comments on fishback maybe apply to some of that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be a
I mean,
priority.
I would think that that may be where potentially there's some,
Somebody's gonna get killed out there one of these days.
all right. Anybody else? Public comment,
Probably me.
public comment. Public comment. Anybody watching us? Not a soul. There you go. All right, we do have a closed session. Thank y'all.
So I move that the board convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711A1 for personnel, 2.2-3711A7 for consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, and 2.2-3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Was that you, Dustin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'll get his signature real quick.
Thank you, Ms. Warren.
So we'll leave this with you,
Awesome.
so you can give it to Jonathan. when you
Thank
have
you.
it.
Yes, ma'am.